Good afternoon, folks. We are live and up and running once again. Let me get everything switched over to the right layout, and we will resume what's hopefully going to be a productive session in Factorio. Okay, should have video and audio. We are once again listening to the Chill royalty-free playlist, which seems to pair well when doing something technically complicated like a factory sim game. Alright, so what are we doing today? Factory's changed a little bit since last time. I need to remember exactly what I did last week on stream. But if we take a look at the map, we can see from the aerial view the layout. And let's see, maybe if I go over here to where we were working on the nuclear stuff. I think that's what I was in the process of setting up, maybe a little bit. So we'll start with that, and then I'll explain kind of how I created a bit of extra work for myself. So down here in the middle side area, we had a large patch of uranium that was being mined and processed for different radioactive components to make nuclear fuel. Again, I can't remember exactly how much of this I had set up last time. Oh, wow, it's already full. This is going to be something I have to come back and retool at some point. But for now, what I've done is I've kind of hijacked Blue's setup for nuclear power that we saw when we raided his stream last time. And ultimately, I'm going to have to move this to somewhere else where there's more space. It's a little bit cramped in here, but for now, I think we can let this run. So we have one reactor, and it's powering a bunch of the turbines. And down here is where I think I had everything set up initially. Learning that one reactor can actually power multiple turbines and doesn't have to be one-to-one like it is with some of the other types of fuel generation. Eventually this is going to come out, and I want to have a setup kind of like this with even more running off of one main heat source, because I think he was doing like 20-to-1, 12-to-1, but it's a pretty good setup. It's just there's not enough space for it here, so until we kind of hit the next tier of running out of power, I think that'll work for now. Then hopefully soon we'll be able to get the type of tech that allows us to recycle the uranium-238 in order to get more of the uranium-235, which is the rarer one. But for now, this sort of overflow system is just a real simple and not terribly efficient way to just keep everything moving so that it can continue to process and this doesn't back up. Hey, Red Dragon's here. What's up, Red Dragon? Welcome to the stream. How is your Wednesday going? Okay, I'm gonna just dump a little of this over here. Doing this all manually is terribly inefficient and not a way to solve this problem long term, but for now it'll do, and then we won't have to think about it for a bit. Oh yes, of course, it is indeed Thursday where you're at, so Hopefully your week has been going decently enough. It has been a busy work week over here, but I can't really complain. Okay, we'll we'll leave that for now. Dragon says, also, Wilds has the spring event going on. Yeah, I did see that. I saw the announcements yesterday for the Blossom Festival that's currently going on in Wilds. So it has changed the look of the hub, and there's some special event quests and stuff that you can unlock for limited time gear. There's some cool new armor sets that functionally are pretty average, but they look neat. So that's pretty cool. I'll definitely look at doing some of that optional stuff on stream this weekend on Sunday when we do Wilds again. In between grinding out all of the high level stuff. I do want to get some of those armor sets for fashion hunting because they look pretty cool. Give me one sec. Yeah, I agree, Red Dragon. The spring armor set's pretty cool looking. Doesn't seem like it has a ton of function skill-wise, but as a way to mix and match with some of the other things for layered armor, definitely something I want to get. Okay. I need to make some more storage at some point. So I need... red, green, and steel. Looks like I'm just short on red. I'm wondering when we're going to get the next Wilds sort of explanation of the summer update. My guess is some point in May. We're going to get like a hunt cast overview or one of their live events, because my guess is that the title update's going to be in June. I think end of June is what I would guess, or maybe further into July. Another problem I'm going to have to solve at some point is the fact that my fluid production is imbalanced, which I should have been paying attention to earlier, but I haven't checked on this section of the factory in a bit. Part of the problem is I use the petroleum a lot more than I use the medium and heavy oil, which is the brown and yellow up here. So these tend to fill up since they're not being consumed as much. I'm just going to empty them all. And once they completely fill up, it stops the production over here completely, because these refineries are spitting out all three, but the petroleum gas is being used constantly, but these other two, heavy and light, don't get used up as much from what I have them crafting. And so if I don't pay attention every once in a while and empty those out and they back up, then it cuts off my production of plastic and my production of sulfur, which are two things I need. So that explains why a lot of stuff stopped down here. So as far as what we're going to be working on today, and kind of explain here, and I'll have to do it on foot. Maybe I can throw on a speed upgrade on here. Well, that helps a little bit. We can book it a little bit faster. So when we last left off, the upper sort of boundary of the factory was right here. This line, which I'm going to just leave here for now. It's not really taking up too much space. This was the wall. And the wall went all the way across here. Here's some leftovers here. But I ran out of space for the next couple phases of tech we're going to need to start creating. And so what I did was I went and tore down the northern wall. I built up a bit more on the east side. So now it goes all the way up to the water, where everything's being pumped in from this large lake. And basically, I've opened up the entire area north of the base, since it's surrounded by water, if you look at the map. This whole area, I'm not have to worry about getting attacked from over here, since the bugs can't swim. But that meant we needed to create some sort of wall to keep them out as the pollution cloud slowly increases. And so let me walk all the way up there. I can get my car. Oh, there it is. There we go. I am using the tank to get around the map if I know I'm going to be fighting things, but for just getting in between spots in base, I threw some rocket fuel in the car and it'll zip up quick enough. So all this was not part of the base before, but what I did was I ran oil lines from large oil patches to the right and piped it all the way up here to the northern border now, the new northern border, where I created a wall, and these are flamethrower turrets. And that scout array might need to get moved at some point, because the bugs start to attack. It's probably going to get splashed with the flamethrower. But we have here just a ton of these in a line, which should deal with anything that attacks for now. We'll see, since I kind of cleared out the map a bit, and they shouldn't bug me for a little while, pun intended. But using a mix of the water and walls, I've essentially moved the entire outer perimeter of the base up further away, because I need room to build more stuff. And we're pretty much at space capacity in the main area we're working with. And so rather than try and move, look at the blueprint here, even to the south, there's not a ton here. Some of the stuff had cliff sides that were bounding everything. So rather than try and squeeze things that I needed here when the main bus was cutting through the middle, what I did was I expanded everything upwards. And so now we have all the space and all the resources up here. And it might not be probably the biggest leap forward in progress, but my main goal in the session today is to build out this new northern expansion area so that we could start putting important things here to craft up the next tier of science, which should be yellow and purple. And I started putting fluid production down here since I think I only need petroleum gas. I'll double check that, because what we need for purple, we need rails, electric furnaces, and productivity modules. For yellow, we need blue circuits, robot frames, and low density structure. For the yellow ones, the robot frames might be a problem, because those require the medium or heavy and light oil. For the engines, we need lube. Oh, we need the engine units too. And for these, we need plastic, steel, and copper. That shouldn't be a problem. So let me show what I expanded to on the other side of the basin. We're going to come back here. This area I started setting up off stream is a big mining area for iron, copper, steel, coal, and we're going to need stone on here too. So my plan is to set up a large multi-track megabus that's going to cut all the way through and should supply a lot of what we need. Now I'm looking at it, it's going to sort of mirror what we had in the original base, and that's okay. We also have room over here. I didn't really plan on building out here, but I guess I can if I need to. We really need to push to get the logistics network. If we had that, it'd make all this so much easier. We could essentially overhaul the entire base and no longer need to rely on having a central bus to get things from point A to point B. But if we look at the tech tree, logistics network is down here. We actually need white science in order to get that. That's the first thing we get from space. So once we do that, it's probably going to dramatically change the direction of everything we've built, but it's going to be a little while. So down here, this is an extension of the southern wall. I did the same thing because I wanted to cut it off just in case things start attacking from the southern end of the map. This is all flamethrowers right here. Might be hard to see, but it's one giant friggin' line of flamethrowers that goes all the way across using an oil line, and it continues to go all the way across until it intersects with another large body of water, which kind of bounds everything. And there's pretty much every critical resource that I would need here if I needed to go all the way out this far, but hopefully I won't need to do that. And so all this area that I'm running around is not really contained by anything except water, but it is part of the base. And so zooming all the way out, we started roughly from drawing a rectangle here. Actually, no, it's down here rather. And now we've expanded, I'd say at least like a good 50% almost up and to the left. So all the space is usable now. At some point, once I do get logistics, I think I'll probably try and uncompact everything or just maybe build a new base. But for now, everything is essentially being produced that we need here, and we're going to set up parallel production up here so that we can get materials to start researching what we need. And that's going to be a kind of large detour, which is why I wanted to work on it a bit on stream today, and then I'll probably work on it more offline, and we'll check back in with Factorio once we get like to space. So that's sort of the list of to-dos today. And fingers crossed, I've cleared enough of the map that I don't have to worry about getting attacked. But if I do, I do have a decent amount of weaponry that I can go out with the tank I can clear nests, but I kind of don't want to waste time on stream doing that. Okay, let's go here. We're gonna probably... Oh, I need to get more belts. We'll be taking the car back and forth and grabbing supplies as we need them. I'll try to stock up as much as I can at once. I'm not just running back and forth the whole time. Okay, we'll need more level 2 inserters. Red belts. Actually, I can dump the furnaces too. I'll explain what we're doing for smelting now when I get back up to that section I'm working on. And I'll explain the bots. Fortunately, we have bots now, so our ability to drop down large scale blueprints and whatnot is exponentially faster, even though they're not fully upgraded. So my plopping things down one at a time is no longer really a thing thanks to having bots. I got those maybe 1 or 2 sessions ago, and it's helped a lot in overall expanding everything out. And so up here, everything is paused because the belt lines are full on the bus and nothing's being used at the moment, which is okay. But eventually, we're going to start adding in more. I think I'm going to go one more layer 4 underneath, and then maybe start going above as we move to the right. And so to give kind of a real quick example of what I mean by using bots, if we want to extend out the bus, instead of putting all of the belts down one at a time, now we can copy paste, and as long as we got the materials on our person, the bots will go ahead and start spreading it out and dropping them down themselves. Fully upgraded, these things move very fast late game, but right now they move, but they're not the fastest yet. What I've been doing is using that to drop things down and then placing things manually, so it's essentially doing it twice as fast. And looking at the space we have to work with, we can run to the right a considerable amount until we hit we won't go to the edge of the continent. I don't think that'll be necessary. But there's also more oil spots over here. A lot of oil, in fact. But we're using the ones here for now. I think of how I want to do stone. We could mine it from up here, because we're going to kind of cut through this patch here. Or we could do it from here. Think about that. So what we can do is set... Actually, we'll just copy paste it again. Sections of 4. And we We don't need to start it right there. There's no point because it's going to be feeding essentially from here. I think I want to put a lot of the fluid production stuff on this particular line. So we'll start it about there. It's fine. One thing we could do, since I have roboports now, we could set up roboports here and stock them with bots. It's called bots or drones. Robots. Bots and the supplies for belts. But once we get the line set up, I think I should be able to just do it from my inventory, okay? Do it in even sections. Go all the way down and then start working on getting the actual oil-based things where these refineries are at. This was what I was working on before today. Eventually we need to go grab more belts. It's putting down big packs of these. It does take a lot. Okay, we'll line it up to here, and then we'll have to see where everything's gonna go. Actually, I'll leave it there and I'll connect it later. But for here, we want... Okay, let's look at our... Look at our components. What we want are lines of green circuits, red circuits, blue circuits, engines, electric motors, and frames. We don't need rocket fuel being produced up here. Have that being done somewhere else. We're also going to need sulfuric acid up here. Lubricant, sulfuric acid, plastic. Crap. Pretty much going to need everything being produced up here so we can use it to create all of these components down here. So that most likely means we're going to be working kind of in both ends. We'll need to produce some of the stuff up here and some of the stuff below. So I think circuits should go up top, and we'll do the fluid production stuff below. That makes sense. What that means is we'll need whole sections. I'm thinking two green circuit belts, 2 red circuit belts. That should be enough. Actually, wait. What is blue? Blue takes green ones too, doesn't it? 3 and 3 would be easier. 4 and 4 rather. Let's do 2 and 2. What we could do is put some of the components that we know we're going to need for the circuits, like copper cable for one. We need that for the green ones, and then it's just regular iron plates. For the red ones, we need more of the copper cable, but we also need plastic, which we're going to make down here. This is going to be an interesting experiment. I'm trying to learn, or relearn rather, since I played this game a decent amount. I'm trying to relearn the most efficient way to organize a lot of the materials. And so I think I'll start with getting cable on here, since that's pretty straightforward. Oh, I didn't realize I had this saved. This is from a while back. I don't even know if I made that one myself. Okay, I forgot we're gonna need gears too. Gear wheels. So really, we need to put the second tier of items, gear wheels, cables, on this set of 4. Okay, work on that first, but I gotta go grab more belts. I should just fill my inventory with belts. I'll grab more this time. We're good on assembling units and inserters. Just need belts. That should last a while. We could run... That's something I didn't think about. We could run sulfuric acid up there and not create it from scratch. Let me go take a look over here. This is where it's being produced. I was originally going to use this line to mine uranium, which you need this sulfuric acid for, but it's not being burned terribly quickly. I think the uranium might be the only thing that's burning it on the other side of the base. What we could do is take this and then send it up north instead of down here. I'm not actively mining anything down here right now. Not only is that easier, but it's closer to where I'm actively producing all of the oil-based products anyway. Okay. That'll help. Since we're gonna need that for... First thing we need is over here. Yeah, we need it for blue. Okay, that actually simplifies that quite a bit. So I don't need to craft sulfur. I just need plastic. We can even add overflow tanks here. That might be a good idea. Fluid buffers. And that'll also keep the stuff being produced back where it's all coming from backing up over there, even though I don't think that was really a problem with this particular type of material. Okay, all right. Sorry, I got a text from Father BPM. He sent me a dissertation thesis of a message. I had to read that and see what he actually sent me. I have an idea that... Oh, it's not going to fit, though. My original thought was maybe to put a roboport in between all of these lines and just keep moving it to the right. Because if I put all of the construction stuff on them, then all I have to do is tell it to expand, and as long as it's within, I think it's within range of the green, the darker red square in the middle is the actual network range, but I think the range that it covers is the big green square. Our Dragon says, oh no, that's dangerous if you have an idea. Well, it turns out it won't work because I can't fit a roboport in between on just 2 tiles. But I might be able to do it below. Let me try. I can actually demonstrate what I'm talking about. We need to run power up there, though. Okay, I need a storage chest, I think. I don't remember how logistics work. But if we go... I should have grabbed more of those. We'll just put them here for now. Ah, it is the green square. Okay. So here's what I'm talking about. It's just... It's not going to be as elegant, but that's okay. By throwing all of the materials that we're asking the bots to use to construct things, in this case, just expanding the bus with belts. If we lay down the ghost blueprints, which is the light blue versions you saw me doing, as long as there's materials in the supply chest, then the bots will just continue to put it down until they reach the end of their range, which should be the green. So if I throw a boatload of belts in the chests here, I should only need to put down the ghost things, and they'll go do this on their own. I can go do something else, which is pretty handy. So let's do that, and then I'm not going to worry too much about expanding infinitely to the right, since we're gonna hit cliffside right here. But at least another couple sections going this way, maybe to the forest line. So we can have it do that for us right now. I just need to clear all these rocks. They won't clear rocks for me, I don't think. Okay. Same with the trees. I need to go grab more grenades. Okay. So let's see, there's a decent amount in there. So let's see how well this works. Let's take a section about yay big for now, since that gets us pretty close to the boundary. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are my bots. Hopefully they come back. But unless I'm short in red belts that are in that chest, those will just do that. And I don't have to think about it for a little while. Again, if we were a little bit further along in our upgrades for robotics and drone tech, they would be doing that blazingly fast. If you remember back when we were playing DSP and we had the same sort of bots doing our work for us, they would just plop down stuff really quickly in large groups. And that's kind of the way it works in Factorio as well. But you have to upgrade speed, carrying capacity, and all that. Okay. So I think if we do 2 more sets like this for now, I'm thinking 2 cable, 2 gears, 2 green, or maybe all green here, and then red up here. And then maybe further down we add another series that the blue can go on to. I think that should handle the majority of what I need. We'll see. So now we need to actually start taking all of these tier 1 materials and turning them into tier 2 materials, and then from there we'll start crafting the tier 3s. Fortunately, because most of these only take 1 component, like it's 1 plate turns into gears, 1 copper turns into cable. All I need to do is set up a bunch of assembling things to produce that 1 type of material, and then copy the same layout, then drop it down. All right, how they doing? They doing all right? They're doing all right. So maybe we go perpendicular to the bus. That's usually what I've done. Yeah, we'll start with that. So the setup is iron feeds in here, and then everything is gonna route down here, merge into 1 spot, and then dump onto the bus. And maybe we do this twice. Might be able to get away with doing it with just one line of gears. What else? Engines use them. Just the engines? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I just need to do that once, I guess. We're gonna need more of the cable. So maybe just do this once. And we go like that for power. And now using the power of bots. It makes it much easier to copy paste. Maybe go 5 and 5. And then I don't think we need... Yeah, I think we go every other and stagger them. It's okay. And likewise, we just take it, copy it, but flip it. Oh, I need to copy the center one. And now we can just mirror it, have the bots assemble everything we need. And create a splitter down here to merge everything. And now we just have to hook it up. Maybe you should pass it a little further out and make room for everything else that's going to go on here. And we have this feeding one line down here. So I'm thinking we go one line of the gears, 2 lines of the cable, and then maybe we start splitting maybe 3 lines of the green. Doesn't have to all be on the same belt. Not that anal about it. But we can take this setup. This is why getting bots is so useful. Although I might be out of belts. Yeah, I think I'm gonna run out. We have these output to the line here. And all we need to do once everything starts getting put down... Oh, I don't want to do that. These aren't going to be crafting plates. They're going to be crafting cable. So we just need to reset whatever these are going to be crafting. Which you can do by holding Control right click to copy the setting. And then right or shift left click, just paste it onto the machine. So I have to set them by hand. I didn't know that until I started this playthrough. That would have saved me a considerable amount of time the first couple save files. Before I was having to go into each one and set its output manually. So I thought that's the only way you can do it. But nope, you can do it just by shift left and right clicking. Okay, we're out of belts. How's everybody doing over here? Ooh, we're just about done. I will leave that there. Let's go grab some more. Forgot where I left my car. So Red Dragon, did you pick up Oblivion? I didn't realize it was coming out so soon, but a lot of people are talking about it. And from what I've seen, the remaster looks pretty cool. I was looking at some side-by-sides with the graphics compared to the original, which was a long time ago. Yeah, it did seem like just kind of a shadow launch. Just, hey, this is a thing, and it's out, which is cool. And he did pick it up. You have to let me know how it is after you play through it for a bit. I will say the original, or that style of RPG isn't my first choice, so it's not really on my immediate list to pick up, but that is cool that it looks to be a solid product. Early birthday gift? Wait, when is your birthday? Was it this month? I'm really bad at remembering birthdays. Oh, this Friday. I didn't know you're... Or maybe I forgot. Again, I'm bad with birthdays. I didn't know you're also April. Well, happy early birthday. Hopefully you get to do something fun. Okay, belts. We need more belts. Yeah. Like 2 weeks apart? What's Friday? Yeah, the 25th. 2 weeks apart. My birthday was on the 11th. I didn't really do much for my birthday on the day. Most people I know were out of town, so I just worked overtime on my birthday, which is exciting. Okay, let me offload some junk. Oh, I should grab grenades too. I said I was going to do that. Grenades are handy for clearing out debris, fallen trees. They do decent damage too, but primarily they're useful for just getting rid of things in large groups. But, oh, here we go. Right in front of my nose. Alright, we can dump these level 1 belts here. They'll get used as components for this. I think I'm actually burning through belts faster than my machine can create them. I'll throw that in there. Do it faster. Red Dragon says, I like the Oblivion remasters. They include all the DLC for $60. Oh, so it's everything that was part of the original, obviously remastered, and then in one package. That was nice of them. Now, see, I think I know more about Oblivion through a lot of the memes than the game itself. I remember a long time ago when I was in Earth School, I knew a lot of people that were playing it, but I never got a chance to get into it. Same with Skyrim. Okay, we could do... Oh, I was going to grab more of the drones too. Getting centralized logistics later is going to be nice. I can just grab whatever I need from the network, but for now I've got to go run back and forth and grab everything by hand. Oh, I see. Oblivion was your first RPG. Nice. I know it was definitely a game changer in gaming, specifically when it came out. Like the scope and kind of scale of like a single player RPG type game was something that really changed a lot when Oblivion hit. Okay, we want construction drones. We are going to create kind of a rudimentary network around where we're building to hopefully speed up some of this stuff. At least for the bus. Should make it a little more efficient for the bus. We'll see. We'll put some of these here. Some of these here. Now, if I run power up towards the top, actually, might not even need to. I think they're within range, so all I need to do is tell the bots to expand out like a section. I think they're within range to do it. That's what I wanted to test. Yeah, there you go. As long as there's stuff in the supply chest, they will go and grab them. Now just imagine that scale of being able to build quickly 5 times faster, and that's kind of what it looks like late game. Okay, in the meantime we can run. This is going to come up from the copper line, and this is going to go over here. So that gives us 2 more belts of cable. We just need to run copper up to these so we can start producing stuff. Have that run from the top line, and the second will run from the one right below it. they weren't done yet. Okay, so now everything here is being grabbed from the line here and being transported down the lines. That's what we want. Next up, we're going to need to do green circuits. And so that's going to go right here next to the circuits. Since it's relatively close together, we need to expand the bus lines more. Okay, good. Those are still within range. Make that a lot faster. So now we have a couple ways to potentially do the circuits, because those are two components. So the setup's going to be a little bit different than this. Similar idea, but we'll have two things running up to each. And I think this is going to need to go. We've already got eyes above, so that doesn't need to stay there. Using drones to tear down structures is also pretty handy if I need to move something or just get it out of the way. Okay, so for green circuits, we need plates and cables. So we could run it up the middle instead of running it underground for 2. I think that's fine for 2. I think for 3 component recipes it makes more sense to run underground. Okay. Try and maximize my space efficiency here. We'll start about here for now. Doesn't have to be perfect. So we need to run cable. And we'll go 5 and 5 per line, just like we did for the other one. Cable and then plates. And the setup's going to be similar, only now we have 2 things that we're pulling from each line. So we're going to need a regular inserter and a long-handed inserter. Hey, Ballistic is here. How's it going, Ballistic? Welcome to the stream, where moderate levels of productivity happen. Hope your day's going decent. Okay, so taking the setup similar concept, except now we have to drop 2 components in each of these things to have it build 1. Like so. Ballistic says, I've seen this game before, but never played it. I see. Factorio is a game all about efficiency. Efficiency and, to some extent, good planning, but I'm not a good planner. And so the point of the game is to construct a factory. I'll go further into what I've built so far. But you start the game dropped into a procedurally generated map or biome, and you have to start gathering resources and crafting things by hand, and working your way up the tech tree to unlock more advanced technology and get to the point where you can automate things like a factory. And so you start being able to mine things like raw iron ore, raw copper ore by hand. And then if we were to go, I'm kind of north of my main base. Where did I leave my car? It's dark. As you go up the ladder of the tech tree and unlock more advanced ways to automate and create things and research, you go from having like a simple base with a couple things mining and smelting and whatnot to something that looks like this. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it'll probably take me 15 minutes to walk around the entirety, but if you look at the map, we were up here. This is where I was working now. All of this is all automation and creating components and whatnot. And so if you like the idea of coming up with creative solutions to solve problems, that's what I like about this game, because I'm really not a technical thinker. I'm not an analytics person, really. But the idea of having like a massive factory that is running autonomously and doing whatever you need is kind of a cool idea. And all the while, in the regular game settings, while you're doing that, if we were to zoom out, the map just goes. I don't think it ends. But these red clusters, which are kind of at the periphery of my base, these are hostile enemies. Bugs. They're called biters and spitters. As you craft and develop stuff up the tech chain, you create pollution through smelting, through generating power with electricity and whatnot. And it creates this red cloud. And it's most concentrated where it's darkest, and then it dissipates. The further that cloud expands and encroaches on the territory of the bugs, the more it pisses them off. And once your cloud starts getting in their territory, they'll start attacking you. So not only are you trying to research and develop and build, but you're having to defend against angry bugs that are not happy about all the environmental pollution you're creating. And so these barriers or walls you see around the edge of my factory are all filled with turrets and flamethrowers that are meant to repel any that get close. We're probably due to get attacked soon, since the cloud is getting close to some of these hives. And what I've done on a couple of sessions is I've run around the map exterminating bugs and pushing their territory back, so I don't have to worry about it for a while. But the main goal is to keep progressing up the tech tree and researching things to upgrade weaponry, your automation and all that stuff, and eventually get to space, which is what the latest version of this game that was released a few months ago adds. I have not fully got to the space phase yet. So eventually we get the ability to leave this planet and start building on other worlds, which are different biomes, different resources, different enemies. And there's 5 of them. 5 additional worlds, I think. So the scope of this game is massive. I am trying to get through just the basic first planet phase. And this save, I should probably save. This is our second save. I'm trying something different because we hit a bit of a stone wall on the first attempt. But this one has been going for about 45 hours now. Not all of it's been on stream. But hopefully, our original save was 56 hours, so a little bit longer. But we started space, but I stopped because we were getting attacked so much. I wanted to try a different map. Ballistic says, sounds interesting. Wish I could play it. Yeah, I definitely think if you're interested in like the procedural aspects of something like this, factory auto sim games are pretty interesting. We've played a few here on stream over the last couple years. We started with Dyson Sphere Program, which is very similar to this, but it tends to focus on interplanetary stuff instead of starting on one world. From there, we spent a decent amount of time in Satisfactory, which has a similar setup to this, but it's 3D. So you're running around in 3 dimensions, building factories, and that game is really cool. This one, Factorio, was kind of the one that really kick-started the factory auto sim genre. It's been around for a long time. This game's been out for years. But it still has an incredible amount of depth, and that space update only happened recently. It was a mod before, and now it's fully integrated in the game. Ballistic says, any recommendations for one on Xbox? I think Satisfactory is on consoles. Factorio, I can check. I don't know if this one is on consoles. I'm playing on Steam. Let me look. Okay. Factorio is not on consoles yet. I think that's something they're looking at doing in the future. But I believe Satisfactory is. Here, I see an article. It's either coming out soon or it's already out. Ah, 2025. So according to this article I found, Satisfactory might be out on consoles later this year. So that's one to keep an eye out for. Or if you have Steam, this game can be a little process intensive when you have like a massive base that's going full speed, but that's not really a problem until way later in the game. All the stuff I showed you here is not really pushing my PC much, but I have seen it get a little bit bogged down when you have a massive thing, a massive factory going. So yeah, that's a real quick and basic overview of the factory and auto sim genre. Oh, and I'm out of power poles. So I should have grabbed all those down there walking around the base. Back we go. I am pretty interested to eventually get to the point where we're able to travel between planets, since the first one we start off on is kind of like a earth-ish type of biome. You have dry kind of desert climates like the one I'm in now. You have forested climates, or biomes rather, environments. It's pretty simple. Some of the other planets, there's like the really highly developed alien forest planet. There's a ice planet, fire planet, lightning planet. Oh wow, I didn't even see what the bot posted. Red Dragon, the quick draw. Thank you for banning bots. Seems like we've been seeing at least 1 or 2 per stream now. They must be creating more accounts to dodge all the bans. Yeah, thanks, Red Dragon. Much appreciated. Okay, let me see if I need anything else while I'm here. I think we're okay. Say that now, I'll be back here in 10 minutes. I forgot to pick something else up. One thing to kind of explain, since I'm not actively researching anything, in order to move up the tech tree, and again, this is kind of show off what I'm talking about, Ballistic. The tech tree of things to unlock and new things to be able to create is pretty expansive. Depending on what section you're working on developing, stuff that I can actively research is lit up in yellow. Red is, I haven't got there on the tree yet. But, what's a good example? If we look at this line of the tree, it's not the whole thing by any means, but we started up here with basic steam power and electronics, which gets us the green circuits. And by researching all these components down here, it leads us into things like engines, oil harvesting, plastics, whatnot. And then when we eventually unlock this tier, then it branches out into another one. So you have things like production, logistics, weaponry, vehicles, all sorts of stuff that gets unlocked as you go. And it's done here at these kind of dome-shaped research facilities. But in order to get certain tiers, you have to get different colors of science, they call it. You start with red, then you get green, then you get black, then you get blue, then you get purple, then you get yellow, then you get white, then you get like bright green. And so you have to research all of these different colored sciences in order to get the different tiers to actually research whatever tech you're looking for. So like, for example, let's say I wanted to upgrade, any of these is fine. Let's say we wanted to get like a distraction drone that'll follow us around. We've already crafted all of these colors. They're feeding into the research facilities. So we tell it to research, it'll start consuming these science flasks, and then our progress is up here. And then once that completes, we'll have unlocked that tech. And so the long range thing I'm trying to do in starting production up north is I need to get the next color. It's going to probably feed down here, which is going to be yellow or purple. I need both. So eventually, if you feed everything correctly, you have these dome facilities with like 8 colors being fed in and researching, since there's hundreds of tech upgrades as you move up the tree. Which sounds kind of daunting, and it's a pretty high level of detail, but you start small with basic stuff, and then you move up in complexity, all the while fending off angry bugs that are trying to destroy your factory because you're slowly polluting the world. Okay, we should be able to stagger. go. So now we have all of these creating green circuits. We're going to need a couple of setups just like this. This is a commodity that's used in a whole bunch of recipes. But we merge them together. And now we're going to transport everything all the way over here. In order for the belts to crisscross like this, they have to go underground. So these kind of chute-looking objects are taking the belts underground and popping them up on the other side. Games like Satisfactory, which are in 3D, allow you to kind of stack things on top of each other. But in Factorio, in the OG, you've got to go underground for things like belts and pipes, for railways and trains, which we haven't even got to in this particular save yet. There is the ability to do lofted rails, so you can have trains going above and below, which is something new in this update. Couldn't do that before. So I think what we want to do is have three setups like this, pulling materials and crafting the green circuits. So using our bots, which is something that, again, I picked up fairly recently in this playthrough. If we just Control C, select what we want to copy, and then Control V it, then all of our bots will take the stuff out of our inventory and they'll build it for us. That alone is a massive time saver. They do have a maximum range though, so if I wander too far away, they won't be able to finish building. But having robots do some of the construction work for you is part of the automation tech that you unlock. One thing I'm not doing actively because I don't have the upgrade for it quite yet is you can use logistics robots to transport things that you need from point A to point B. So right now we're doing everything with these belts. These are the level 2 red ones. Further on in the game, once we unlock logistics for robotics, we can have another type of robot, looks like this, carry things from point A to point B. So you can say, grab all the stuff being produced here and fly it over to the other side of the map. And they'll just do that in large groups. That will be nice. That will be a massive saver of time once I eventually get there. We actually have to get off world in order to unlock that type of tech. So soon. Oh, whoops. I don't want to do that. I want to go from down here. Yeah, that's right, Ballistic. It's convenient because it's faster and more efficient than having everything being trucked along a conveyor belt. But the technology is a little bit far off on the tech tree for now, but it'll be nice once we get there. It's also worth mentioning that these factory auto sim games, I think, with the exception of Dyson Sphere program, since that one is a bit newer, they are all multiplayer for the most part. So you could do co-op. You and another person. I don't know if there's a limit on player count because I've never bothered to check, but for games like this, you can have people co-inhabiting a world and working together to build and produce stuff. Which I've done some multiplayer in this game, just not on stream. A good friend of mine who introduced me to Factorio and thus started my vast descent into factory auto sim games as a genre. He and I were doing some co-op so he could explain to me some of the more advanced stuff in the game. Ballistic says, sounds like it would help with team building. Yeah, I definitely think so, and it's also a good way for knowledge sharing. So if you have someone who knows the game really well and someone who's just learning, then it's a good way to kind of show someone the ropes, which is what that particular friend of mine was doing. He knew how to do a lot of the stuff that I was barely learning, and so I was able to pick up some useful tips, gameplay wise. And that was prior to all of the recent updates too. That particular friend of mine, I think he's got like 5,000 hours in this game. Hold on, I can actually check. So calling him an expert would be a bit of an understatement. Let's see. Oh, I was wrong. This particular friend of mine has not spent 5,000 hours in Factorio. That would be crazy. According to his Steam profile, he has spent 13,070 hours in Factorio. That's pretty impressive, if I'm reading this correctly. That's pretty crazy. Well, maybe let me see if I could have this sorted wrong. Oh, I see. I think that's a cumulative total I was looking at. So in Factorio just by itself, my mistake. It's not 5,000, but it's close. 4,441.7 hours. So almost halfway to getting pretty close to 5,000 total. That's still a lot. I think the only game I can think that would be even close to that much time I've spent would maybe be every Monster Hunter game combined. That 13,000 must be cumulative total across all games, which is pretty impressive. Money on my mother, mine. Cop 5 haircuts at the same time. White gold pants, jet ski made of wine. Foie gras bust of Albert Einstein, get money. Hey, Red Dragon with the resub. 18 months. Oh lord, that's a long time. Thanks, Red Dragon. Much appreciated. $18 months is a long time for anything. Okay, so let's see. We've got 3 of these now. 2 of these, rather. I wonder if we can squeeze another one. Maybe not, because looking at the spread, if we had a third line of the copper cabling here, I will stick with 2 for now. Maybe go 2 and 1 because we need the red circuits next. But we got to get fluid stuff produced down here, and we need plastics. Plastics require petroleum gas and coal. We've got coal up here. Petroleum gas is created using refineries, which take oil. And that's why I built everything down here close to these oil tanks. Oil, which is a tricky part of the early game, has to be pumped up from these black spots that look like bubbling crude. These are raw oil spots that need to be pulled up out of the ground using pump jacks here. And then from there, they're refined into different other types of material. And so we were thinking about what we need to craft with all of the different oil components. There's petroleum gas, and then light oil and heavy oil. Those are the 3 things that can be produced. Oh, I forgot about the cracking. That would actually solve my problem in the main base. Okay, maybe we should do that here. So what this does, this allows us to take one type of oil and break it down into another, and then likewise break that down into something else that we need more so. So one facility, I'll actually illustrate what I'm talking about here. One facility will create petroleum gas, which is this material right here, light oil, which is the yellow, and heavy oil, which is the brown. In general, the stuff that we're going to be using is going to be using petroleum gas the most, and these other 2 less so. If you utilize the oil cracking, you can break down the heavy into light, and then break down the light into petroleum gas, and it kind of creates like a cyclical way to make it so you're not piling up one type of material, which is what's happening in my base now. I forgot that you could do that. So the question is, how do we want to set that up? First off, we need to outfit these with input. So we need water plus crude oil. And I'm thinking we go from the lake that's to the upper left. Which means I need to probably squeeze between... Yeah, I'm going to have to squeeze between everything here. But we can pump stuff out of this lake and then route it down through pipes, and then store it nearby so that we can run it into the refineries. So we need offshore pumps, which don't require power, weirdly enough. And I think I've said this a couple times as we've been playing some of these games. Fluid dynamics is my least favorite part of games like this. I think it's just because I suck at managing them. But it's the part that tends to bog me down the longest when it comes to getting everything up and running. I'm getting better, but each game handles things like oil. When I say fluid dynamics, I mean processing things like oil and turning it into whatever products you need. It's tricky. It's kind of the part where a lot of people bounce off of these games, because when you're just mining material A, turning it into material B, pretty straightforward. But once you start getting to the point where you have to transport oil and then turn it into, or another type of material and another type of material, that's where it gets a little bit complicated. Now what we can do, I think we actually want to set a pump up so that we don't lose pressure. And this is what I was talking about before when it comes to running underground. These things that look like little curved pipes, they're running underground and they have a max range. And this is so you don't have big pipelines just running above ground, clogging up your ability to walk around. And so everything's going underground and allows us to go under our belts if we needed to as well. We can pop that out here. Now run it over to where our refineries are waiting. Ballistic says, I like games with intricate detail like that. A game I like to watch people play is CCDA. Pretty realistic in that and how you need to survive a zombie apocalypse. So is it like a resource management, like survival type game where you've got to manage a whole bunch of different things in order to either make progress or not get wiped out? Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm hooking up the different components that I need for the refineries to actually function on input, and now I have to set output. Okay, PC and mobile. I've never heard of it, but it sounds like an interesting premise. Oh, let's see. How do I want to set output up here? Oh, I definitely don't want them to be connected. Oh, they're too close together. That's right. I need to have them one apart so I can power them. Whoops. That's why. Well. Scrap. Similar setup, but I need to space them apart. Otherwise, that'll happen. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead. I gotcha. I see Red Dragon is getting ready to head out. Alright, man. Thanks for coming by and hanging out. Listening to me yap about factories and whatnot. We should be back tomorrow, barring any shenanigans from work. I have not figured out what I'm going to play yet. We're supposed to be starting something new as like a long play. So I'll figure that out. It's either going to be something that we're going to be able to start up long term, or it's going to be a fighting game, and I haven't decided which yet. But yeah, get some rest, and I'll catch you in the next one. Also, Ballistic, I always forget whenever people stop by, either from a raid or just in general here on the channel. If I haven't given you the link to our community Discord, and I can put it here in the chat, I think you came over from Wazi's stream, right? That seems like that's where I recognize your name from. But if that's the case, a lot of the folks that you know from the Talk Secure crew hang out in our community as well. If I were a good streamer, I would remember to drop that link every time I get raided, but I honestly am so surprised when that happens, I forget. So if you're interested, I'll just drop it here. I need to remember to save. So in CCDA, challenges and scenarios where you're a pizza delivery guy. Huh. Interesting premise. Oh, whoops. I broke my water pipeline. There it goes. Okay. So now we can put our output through here, and the pipes won't get stuck together. And what we ultimately want is to have all of these 3 different types of fluids being produced to be sent off to different spots where they can be either repurposed back into one type of material or used for something else. So that's how we're going to connect them up like that. And we're actually going to mirror this. So we want a row of 5, 5 on top and on the bottom. And I'm going to run out of underground pipes. Oops. I really need to put lights down here in the factory when the sun goes down. It'll make it easier to see. One potential problem with a game like Factorio, when it's very kind of objective driven on what you're trying to accomplish. This is one of those, I just want to do one thing and then I'm going to bed type game. And then it's several hours later than when you originally planned to go to bed. So one of the reasons why I tend to stream it is I can force myself to get things done on stream. But then if I have an idea when I'm off stream and I think, okay, I just want to do this one thing in the base and I'll do the rest next time I stream it, then it's tomorrow. Think of it kind of like the Minecraft effect. The same problem with that game. Okay, I saw a little ping from Discord. It looks like that was you joining Ballistic. Community's pretty chill. You know, if you're used to hanging around Wazi's crew, then the rules should be pretty simple. Just be decent to everybody and each other. But you can also see updates on the different projects that I'm working on in the Discord as well. I try and eventually, when I finish art stuff, put art stuff in there. But if you want to see links to all of the music projects that I've worked on, all that stuff is in there as well. All right, we want to flip this so that everything is lined up. And you want it to be as even as possible. Let's see if that'll do. Okay, yeah, that works. Kind of a stickler for symmetry. It's not entirely necessary, but it looks nicer. What we'll need to do is, in addition to connecting all of this up here, we'll need to run the crude oil input, just like we did down here, on this side. Okay, that should do it for those. We can run a split off this side. And these are going to go 1 and 2. Oh, they're already there. There we go. So that's water. And now we need to do the same thing and run a pipeline of crude oil up here for that. And then we need to run power. That's the last thing. For fluid production specifically, the reason, like I was talking about before, that having underground networks like this is so important is if this was all above ground, I would have a nightmare of a time trying to get to the buildings. I'd be running into the pipes and you can't kind of jump over them. So instead you run them underground to minimize the amount of space they take up in your base, and it looks a little bit nicer. Okay, so that got everything there. Now the question is, where do I want to have all of the tanks stored? Since this raised cliffside here is in the way, which is obnoxious for now. Eventually we'll get the ability to use explosives to demolish the sheer cliff faces and flatten them out, but that's not for a good while. List says, if you're open to it, you could try out CDDA for a stream. It's good for quick play with challenges, or you could set it on regular mode for long-term sessions. Just a suggestion. I'll keep that in mind. If you have a link to the game or like gameplay of it, you can put it in media share in the Discord, and I'll take a look at it, and I can look and see if it's the type of game that I would be able to play on stream. So yeah, I can at least take a look and see what it is. Okay. With all of this cliffside in the way. Where should I put the rest of the production? It doesn't have to be over here to the right. In fact, it might make more sense for me to go left. Maybe we will do that. And maybe fill out down here a bit. I didn't exactly account for the cliffside. I forgot it was there, in fact. I think we could put that there, have it be out of the way. Maybe we can do... this is going to be a little bit messy, but it's all right. Okay, that should be... Okay, yeah, that's fine. I'm thinking maybe we run it out here and then build further south. That way I can put everything onto the main bus line as being produced. Either that or go up. But I'm kind of doing all my circuit processing above. Maybe go out here. And we run this one a little bit further up. The plan is to use the cracking to convert a lot of this stuff back to the same petroleum gas, since that's the most important one we need. Okay. Might have to get a little bit creative with the spacing. But first I need to get more tanks. In the meantime, let's see. Most of the other tech that I've got isn't super critical. I guess we can get follower counts. Those are defensive robots. I've gotten into 0 fights this entire stream, but eventually I'm going to have to deal with hostile life forms at some point. Having some defensive options will help. Alright, now I gotta remember where I put the tanks. Right here. grab more of the underground belts too. We'll definitely need more of that. So I'm thinking we go kind of towards the middle. I gotta be careful watching how everything crisscrosses here, but I'm thinking we put the most important resource, which is petroleum gas, kind of towards the middle, and then put tanks for the other two kind of next to it. So what I mean by that is maybe we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 8. And so this is going to feed here, and it'll start dumping all petroleum gas there. And then we'll go up a little ways with the second type of oil. And do the same thing for the third one. And we'll figure out how we're going to crack them over here at some point. Oops. Those aren't even connected. Maybe go 6. 6 and 6. So I'm going to need some of this for the engines. Engines require lubricant, which is heavy oil, the darker one. We could pass this underneath. It should be all right. Go over here. And so now all 3 types of byproduct should be getting produced by the refineries. Now for cracking, I think it's just chemical plants, or maybe they're refineries as well. This will be a good chance to figure out how that works, since I've never really done much with cracking. So it starts with heavy plus water, which is good because we have water right here. Maybe to test. This will be an experiment. Nope, that's not even an option there. Chemical plant, I was right the first time. The smaller building can be used to take the different types of fluids and do things with them. So this one we want to crack. From heavy to light. And from there, we can have it dump into these tanks, and then we'll have two plants like this split off from here and take this and break it down into that. So I'm curious if we can do 2 and 2. I don't know the ratio. That's one thing that I'll have to figure out. Okay, we'll start with that, and then we'll do the same thing over here. Because this is it 1-to-1? Wait, it says right here. 15 water, 20 oil, gets 15 oil. Okay. So if we duplicate the setup, and we'll just change the output. It's going to break the yellow oil light into petroleum gas. I just need to run this up. And run the water. And power. And now to complete the whole cycle, we have the output dumping back into the tanks for petroleum gas, which is what we want. Okay, all of that. And now we have everything kind of going in a circle. We'll see if it's enough to kind of offset. Because eventually, like I said, I'm going to be using these for something else. But now that we've got petroleum gas, we need plastics. So now it comes down to logistics of where to put all of this stuff. I could put them down here, since I need petroleum gas plus coal to make plastics. And we've got coal up here. I could run a belt down here through everything and then run it back up and have the plastics dump over here. That was my original plan. I guess we can do that. This will be the last thing we set up before we get ready to wrap for today's stream. This is a different type of material, since it's going to require us to actually physically run something down. I should probably do that first. Unlike these where we're running all pipes, we're going to actually have to run a conveyor belt with an inserter in order to get coal down there. I think we can go one lower. There we go. Okay, that should be enough space. Yeah, I think that's just barely enough. That didn't work out. I have to run down to where I had plastics being built before and figure out how I set it up. But that should do. Barely. It's a little bit cramped, but that's okay. And just like the other physical commodities we were making above, this results in something that has to be put on a belt. So this is solid plastic, it's not a fluid. So that should do what I need. So we'll find out. Now we need to run a line for the petroleum gas itself. There we go. Yep, looks like it's working as intended. Maybe we go 6 and 6. Actually, I'll just copy it. Need to remember that I can just copy whole layouts and my robots will do it for me. Case in point. Oh, I think I'm going to run out of underground pipes. Again. Yep. Okay, but the setup is identical. I just need to get the last bits. We'll get that turned on and hooked up to the main supply line, and then that should be a good stopping point. I could do this for another 3 hours, but I do need to go see to dinner soon. Let me grab some more of the regular pipes while we're down here. That should do. When the bots are running around building stuff or moving things around, they have their own power. And if they deplete it, they have to basically recharge either from your power supply or at a roboport. So if you see them hovering around me like that, that's what they're doing. Okay, now I just need to run coal. We can split it off of this line and just have it connect this way. Since it's going in the same direction. And now we have everything. I'm missing one over here. There we go. Now I have 6 and 6 producing plastic bars. And we can run it up to the main supply line. And we now have another major component of circuits. That's the last thing we needed for red circuits. We need plastic bars, we already got the cable, and we need the green circuits. So I may need to, I don't know if I exactly planned this right. I might need to put a couple more lines, or at least one more line of copper cabling on here. We'll see. Because right now, these two are being used for the green circuits. If I hook up red to that, I think I'm going to run out of copper cables. But that'll be something to figure out next. I could even start them down here. And have those be exclusively for the red circuits. Now, that's not a bad idea. I've got room. Another piece of tech that I haven't fiddled around with this playthrough is landfill, which is just made using, I think, dirt. I don't have it unlocked yet. Oh, there it is. Yeah, stone ore. You can fill in water. So if I wanted more room, I could craft a bunch of those and then fill in the lake, essentially, to make more space. But I'm not going to do that until I absolutely need to. So let's take stock of what we did on the session today. We built out northern production lines, which is important. We got all the first tier stuff done, started on the second tier, and got fluid production underway. Next, I'll need to get the last 2 colors of circuits, then things like engines and all that, so that I can start crafting the things for purple and yellow science. Once I do that, I should be ready to hit space. So we'll see if that actually happens. And I might duplicate my production down here and do another line of plastics underneath this one, since I also need it for low density structure. That I do not like that resource. That resource is really obnoxious. But we got to deal with it. So go ahead and save here. Let me go ahead and take a look at the homie list and see who's online that we can raid. We'll get ready to wrap up for today. Let's see. Oh, Spectral Noct is online. I haven't had a chance to raid them in a while. Looks like art. Looks like art. Okay. Let me go ahead and queue that up. And so what we'll do is we'll pause the BGM and go to outro. And we will call that a moderately productive stream. I think if I went another 2 hours, I probably would have got most of what I needed to get done. But hopefully it was interesting, getting a chance to look at Factorio for those who haven't seen it before. Like I mentioned, we should be back tomorrow. I just don't know what we're playing yet. I'll figure something out. But until then, thanks for hanging out. Hope everyone has a good rest of your evening or day or morning. And I will catch you in the next one. Let's go see how the drawing is going over on Noct's stream. Catch you folks later.